can't believe a guy shoots himself in the leg cleaning his gun. God. If I did that and I started screaming and my wife heard that, I would never, ever live that down. She would make fun of me for the rest of my existence. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're covering basically the 2A in the news for the past week, because there's been a lot of it in the news. Now, I know this type of segment is actually pretty popular with you amongst the gun reviews and other things that I do. So, a lot of things happened this week, and I figured I'd throw them together real quick in this video, and we'll just call it a bonus video. So I made my little list of things I think are pertinent to us here in Connecticut versus, things that happen in like Chicago, LA, things like that. It really doesn't affect us here. Their problems. We have our own problems. All right. First and foremost, let's talk about ATF's new rule. Yes, once again, the ATF is just making stuff up out of thin air, and they're like, hey, this is a rule. All right. It is coming down that the Biden administration, ATF, is basing this on Chris Murphy's BS or whatever. It all boils down to, and there's plenty of other channels that opined on this. I'm not going to get into the details or the weeds, but know this. The ATF says if you want to sell a gun, you have to be an FFL. Unless it's like family member to family member. But if you are selling a gun for a profit and you are not an FFL, you are in violation of some law they have just magically created, and you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent that the DOJ can throw everything at you. So you are forced now to go to an FFL and do all that. So what's that really mean? If you have a gun, say you bought it, I don't know, a couple of years back for a couple $100, and that gun happens to be more on the rare side, right? I mean, well, let's just say back in the day you bought yourself a Calico, and today you want to unload that Calico, you want to sell it. So you can try and sell it here locally, but good luck with that. Ain't nobody up here trying to buy one of those. You could go to Gunbroker or one of those other websites, put it up for sale, sell the gun. You are going to make a profit because those are rarer guns. You've now sold the gun. What you would normally do is you would then take that gun to an FFL. That FFL would ship it to the buyer's FFL, and it's not your problem anymore. The rules basically said because you sold the gun, you made a profit on it, you're a felon. So good luck with Gunbroker and all those other websites. If this rule were to stand, which I don't think it will, if it were to stand, doing business on those websites is going to become very, very difficult because you are not an FFL. So there's that. Next on the list is May 1st is Connecticut's deadline for registering your others or your pre-bans or whatever. So if you haven't done so yet, it is going to be a mad dash to do so. If for some reason you're having problems registering or you have a ton of questions or whatever, then I want to make sure I get this right. I'm going to pull it up so I can get it right. I have a screenshot. All right, this was on Facebook's. This was on Facebook, the CCDL. It is saying that the CCDL will be at Urban 2A from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., so 1500 to 1800, to offer free assistance for those that will choose to register their others and pre-bans, bring an ID, so on and so forth. All right, so registry help, Urban 2A, Monday, 4/15, so April 15th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 380 Washington Avenue in North Haven. Free help from CCDL. Urban 2A is the store where you would go to buy your Byrna launchers and all that stuff. So, there you go. I'll put a picture up somewhere. So, that's done. All right, before I get too far into the next articles and next bit of news, I just want to say thanks for everyone for supporting the channel. The best way to support that channel is obviously go down in the description below, click the link for the merch, and pick up some merch. There's some cool designs that are up there. The latest design I put up just the other day is Guns and Ammo. America runs on Guns and Ammo. So if you live in the New England area, you know exactly what that is and what it's a parody of. I do love my coffee. So go down there, click on the link, get yourself a shirt, grab some other shirts. If that's not your thing, fine. I've got locals, Patreon, all that stuff. At the very least, give a like, share, subscribe, and put a comment down below. Let's discuss this. It helps with everything in the algorithm, because YouTube really does hate gun tubers like myself. It's a constant battle with shadow bans and strikes and all that jazz. Next up, on April 2nd, some people were magnet fishing down at Red Bridge here in the Dirty Den, Meriden. And they found a very old pipe bomb. It was just in the water. Now, years ago, they found a bunch of pipe bombs down in that area. Well, they just found another one. So, they had to deal with that. And then, yesterday, which would be the 12th, there was a bomb found on Hanover Street, which the state police bomb squad had to come test, identify, and then detonate in place. So, congratulations, Meriden. You have moved up from your regular carjackings, shootings, to now we got bombs. Good on you, Meriden. Way to keep it dirty. All right. Getting back to the ATF. All right. Just so you know, the ATF is investigating the D.C. Metro Police. This is in Washington, D.C. So, for the longest time, you couldn't get guns in Washington, D.C., right? And if you were somehow able to get a gun, there were no gun stores. But when Bruin came about in that ruling, D.C. was forced to allow people to purchase guns. Well, they didn't have any gun stores. How did they alleviate the problem? It was simple. D.C. Metro Police was your FFL, because there were no FFLs in the area. Now there's a few, and D.C. Metro Police are no longer doing it, but at the time they were. Here's the problem. People were buying guns, say on like Gunbroker, out of state, and then having them shipped to the D.C. Metro Police. And you would go in, and you're supposed to do your 4473, blah, 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 get your gun, go on. Well, there was a disproportionate amount of those firearms that wound up at crime scenes. So the ATF decided to look into it, right? They did a trace and all that, and they wanted to dig deeper. Real quick synopsis of the whole thing. Apparently, nobody was doing 4473s or something like that, and people were just getting guns, and these guns were being used for illegal things. So, when politicians tell you that only the military and the police are the responsible ones, well, this entire department was responsible for properly and legally issuing firearms to people, and they screwed the pooch. And a lot of these guns are out on the streets being used for nefarious things. So, politicians, stop lying. I'd rather have a bunch of civilians with these guns doing the right thing than the BS that you throw at us where cops are the only responsible ones. All right? So we got that. The next, I'm going to put the picture up right here. And this hurts to the core. So a couple of days ago, the Navy put up on their social media pages that photo, this photo, trying to bolster recruiting. The problem is, within one day, I saw this across a ton of boards on social media, and people were just ripping it apart. I mean, you just look at it. You can see a bunch of things wrong with it. But basically, they took the CO, who doesn't know anything about guns. Granted, it's the Navy. Guns aren't their biggest thing, right? It's not like the Army or the Marines. And you can see, besides the chicken winging of the arm, which people do that, okay, the scope is mounted backwards. And the cap's on. So I don't know how this guy got to see anything. Now, there's some brass flying. I don't know if he actually shot the rifle or if they photoshopped the brass flying in post-edit or post-photo, whatever. I don't know. But it made its rounds really quickly, going viral. The Navy quickly deleted it, but the damage was done. Everybody's making fun of them. Way to go, Navy. Other branches definitely ribbing them. And then there's a bunch of companies that are coming out and giving them hell too, including, I saw one for Sightmark. Hold your comments about, well, they're cheap Chinese. I don't care. I thought it was funny that Sightmark put up an ad, sponsored ad on social media, with one of their LPVOs mounted backwards, and the whole caption was like, hey, did we do it right, Navy? Pretty funny. And then they offered everybody a discount code of 15% for the LPVO in question. But Navy, what the hell? It's like the blind leading the blind sometime. I don't know what to say. I can't defend this. You get exactly what you've earned. Way to go, Navy. All right, and last up. This happened April 9th in Enfield, Connecticut. So locally. And I'm going to disclose this. So when I was putting together the list of things I kind of wanted to talk about, I saw this article a couple of days ago. I laughed. Thought it was really bad. And then I went back looking for the article. And literally I spent 45 minutes of my life I will never get back looking for this article. It was so buried. I couldn't find it. Finally, however, I did find it via WFSB. It just took a lot of digging, but found it, and we're going to discuss it real quick. So in Enfield, Connecticut, on the 9th, I'll just grab the article and read it to you. It's real short, all right? And then I'll break it down for you. So a man accidentally shoots himself while cleaning firearm, Enfield police say. According to the chief of the Enfield Police Department, the victim was cleaning his Smith & Wesson handgun, which he thought was unloaded. Unfortunately, it was loaded and it fired, causing a significant gunshot wound to the man's leg. The victim's wife heard cries for help and called 911 immediately. Officers arrived to the man's home on Lincoln Street and applied a tourniquet to the man's leg. Good move. He should have had his own tourniquets. His wife should have helped him. He should have done it himself, but whatever. He was then transported to Bay State Hospital. The firearm has been seized pending further investigation and a referral to licensing authorities. Why? Because he's losing his gun, and the licensing authorities, he's going to lose his permit for the negligent discharge. And it comes down to the suitability standard, which police can use to revoke your permit at any point if they find you to be unsuitable. And honestly, shooting yourself in the leg while you're cleaning your gun is pretty bad. All right? It's a negligent discharge. You're losing your permit. It's a guarantee. So let's do a little PSA. All right? I was looking around. I don't have a Smith & Wesson, but we'll use this Glock. Okay, I want to clean the Glock. What is the first thing I'm going to do? Oh, it's simple. It has a magazine in it. I'm going to drop the magazine. And then I'm going to lock it open. And I'm going to look down into the chamber. And I'm going to look down through the grip. I can see there's no magazine. There's no round in here. This is good to go to break down. Magazine is in. You can do it this way. I just pull it and lock it open. All right. I can see there's nothing there, nothing there. Magazine is out. Check it again. And then I can go forth and break this down, which I'm not going to show you because YouTube would freak out. I don't just ever drop the mag like, yep, it's empty, and then go to do stuff, because there could potentially be a round in there. Now, a lot of guns are going to have that chamber indicator. Even SIGs and Glocks, if you turn it over and you look on the back side of the chamber, you would see some gold, right? That's your brass. It's simple. Just clear the damn thing out. Make sure it's clear. There's nothing in there. Take the extra second. God forbid. It's like, yep, it's unloaded. Listen, it's one of your basic tenets. Treat every gun as if it's loaded. Okay? I treat it as if it's loaded. I'm going to break it down. Some guns, you've got to actively pull the trigger in order to break down, much like the Glock. I'm pulling a trigger, which means I'm going to check, double check, triple check, quadruple check. Heck, if I've got my wife, my son, or other people in the home, I'll make them check too if they're in the area. Like, let's double check, let's look. Everyone agree? Yes, it's unloaded. I don't want to have a negligent discharge. One, I don't want to lose the gun. Because guns are expensive. Two, I don't want my permit revoked. And then three, you know how much of a dumbass you look like? How do I tell my friends, my peers that do very similar things like this, that I lost my gun and my permit because of a negligent discharge? That's that. I just lose all my cool guy points. So that's pretty much the news roundup. Not much going on. There was a CCDL meeting last week. I did not go. I got wrapped up in other things, so I will try to catch it next month. If you did not make it to Connecticut Night Vision Freedom Ballistics Advanced Carbine course, or you didn't make it today to their basically concealed carry course, then you still have opportunities to get some training in. All right, the weather is beautiful. Upcoming training, I'm not going to tell you about the ones that are months ahead. What's coming up right now? All right, Saturday, April 20th, there is a practical rifle skills class through Patriot Performance. So go hang out with Frank, take the class. All that information is going to be under the events page on my Facebook or in the description below. I'll just throw a link into that. And then the next one coming up Saturday, May 4th, at 8 a.m. there is a fundamentals pistol course through Black Sheep. And if you don't want to do that, then Saturday, May 4th at 1 p.m. is their fundamental rifle course. So if you're not ready for those advanced courses and you're still in the mood for those fundamentals, there you go. You've got 3 fundamental courses that are coming up in the very near future. There is no excuse not to get your training in. All right? Get your training in. Don't be that guy that doesn't train. You're going to need it sooner than later. All right, that's all I have for you guys this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been kind of a slow news week when it comes to the Second Amendment. Things that really pertain to us. So remember, your deadline is coming up. Register your stuff if you're inclined to do so. If you're not doing that, good for you. You do you. All right. Till the next video, I will see you guys later.